It's working. Oh my goodness, you guys, that was wild and crazy. All right. Who's in the house? I got two. Is one of them Annabes? I've got no wax in my braces, you guys. I'm going to try it like this. Um, let's see. So that was so weird. It kept saying going live, going live, going live, and it wouldn't do it. So I had to like back out and then came back in. So I might end up having to put the wax on. Um, I'm just going to try it. I get so sick of talking funny. Um, so how's my hair? How's my lighting? I look like looks like I've got black hair and I'm kind of like rocking a, I don't know, like a dude's haircut. It's like up in a bun kind of thing. And glasses. I've got some lights. Let's see if I can show the little light over there. And what else? I want to make sure. I wonder if I push it back a little bit. And that might be good. Yeah, I think I need to push it back a little. And I think that's a good spot for it. All right. Please make sure you're still subscribed if you are subscribed. And if you're not, consider doing so. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like my channel. I got some crazy crap for you guys tonight. Turn on your notification bell to ring a ding ding and hit your like button if you'd be so kind. Christine Herman, how are you, my dear? What's up? It's Friday the 13th. Have I told you guys? I think I've told you on previous Friday the 13th. It's my favorite. It really is. It's always a good day for me. So I hope it's a good day for you too. And I hope it's a good day for everybody. So even though I don't have the wax in my braces, I'm still going to be talking funny because having braces is like all weird on your lips, and see if it's any better like that. Good. Just looking for new news. So have I got news for you? First of all, that's the funniest channel in the world. I'll put a link in the description. It's called Have I Got News for You? And then there's one that's for the United States of America because it's a British show. So it's Have I Got News for You, US. So yeah, I do have a little bit of news, and let me do my disclaimer really quick. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for the tube of you and me, and it's an infotainment platform. I think I got it all covered. I'm just going to put a little bit of lotion on my hands. And I won't admit to you that it's from Bath and Body Works because, you know, Les Wex. So what type of news are you looking for, Christine Herman? I really want to talk about Nancy Guthrie because here we are almost 2 weeks in and no freaking sign of life. I know they're doing a SWAT thing right now. I'm trying to ignore it because I think it's all just a show. And I know that there's other content creators out there that believe that too, but I haven't been watching those channels because I don't want to be like, you know, like group thinking with them when I feel like I have enough of my own crazy ideas. So it's like I like to let them do their thing, I'll do my thing, and then compare notes. But do you ever watch Bulwark? Oh, please fill me in. Well, like I said, I'm not paying that much attention to all the shenanigans going on, but I can fill you in on what I know because I've been doing a lot more research. And that sheriff is bad news. Chris Nanos, the sheriff of Pima County, he's in hot water. And that was before this case happened. So I'm convinced that the whole thing is a hoax. I'm convinced that it's a lot like the Kylie Rodney thing. Chris Nanos, I think is how you say his name, the Pima County Sheriff, he reminds me a lot of the 50 to 90 FBI agents that were at the sanctuary kicking the rocks around when then 3 weeks later they tried to allege that Kylie had been 14 feet away from them, 12 feet underwater the whole time, and they just couldn't see because they're all blind as bats. Local news sheriff said nothing new, contradicting. And then there's like TMZ, which is such an effing crock of crap. The guy who owns TMZ, Harvey, whatever douchebag his name is, you know who I'm talking about. I keep thinking Harvey Weinstein because he's kind of like him. I got to slow down. Harvey from TMZ is in the Epstein files, the Trumpstein files. And then come to find out that he was being paid $10,000 a month for years to trash the reputations of the victims. So screw him. Thank you, Annabise. I was going to ask you, give me his last name. Harvey Levine. So we've all known that TMZ has gone to hell in a handbasket. The thing about trashing the reputations of the Trumpstein victims, and then the thing that we really got to focus on and not allow the gaslighting, is that Nancy Guthrie's daughter, Savannah, did some of the most impressive investigative journalism work of her career. And she's top notch. Her career is top notch. Her investigative journalism with Virginia Giuffre and with as many other Trumpstein victims as were willing to talk with her. So then she was doing that deep dive expose for Dateline 7 years ago in 2019 that was ready to go, and then it got the axe like a day or two before it was going to be aired, and Virginia was devastated, and it never did air. The only one that aired is like 60 Minutes Australia. They did air some interviews of Virginia Giuffre in a group with other survivors, and Savannah Guthrie was interviewing all of them. But the thing with her mother disappearing at the same time that they release 3 million freaking files, and then the deranged person, Bigly Piggly, saying, oh, I've always liked Savannah Guthrie, when he hated her. He called her a crazed lunatic, said that she yelled at him, barked questions at him the entire interview. But she won an Emmy for that interview, which obviously she wouldn't have if she was a crazed lunatic barking questions at a president. It was 2020. It was when he was president. So with Harvey Levine being in the freaking files, Ashley Banfield is in the files because she sent an email asking somebody if Jeffrey Epstein was single. And that was in 2012 when she knew he was what he is. And he wasn't interested in her. She's like twice too old for him, right? Half her age would still be too old for him. Even back then, he liked him, the younger, the better. I mean, oh, it's so gross. Okay, so the Levine douchebag, Harvey, shouldn't have anything to do with the Guthrie case if the Guthrie case has something to do with the Trumpstein files. And a lot of these bigger channels, I don't think will say anything about it because they don't want to get sued. And that's understandable. And it's one of the reasons why I'm really grateful that my channel is so small. Because I can vocalize these opinions. And, you know, if I get sued, I'll take that as a compliment. Seriously, I would. I'd absolutely feel like a somebody if the Donnie Two Dolls hit me with a lawsuit. It would be hilarious. So my typing is bad tonight. Oh, you're good, Christine. It's okay. Fingers have their own party. I know. I call it the fat fingers. It's so annoying, isn't it? So I had sent this to Anna B. So she got a heads up on it. And it is something I'm going to play for you now. It's Tim Miller from Bulwark. Bulwark is an awesome channel. It's like right up there with Midas Touch. It's better than Midas Touch. And just yesterday I was thinking, you know, I haven't been watching Bulwark as much as I like to. So I checked it out today, and right away, Tim Miller like blows my mind. But I want to know what you guys think. Anna agrees with me, but I'm thinking, you know, that let's see what you think, Christine. I'm going to put a link in the description to this video. Let me see how old it is. It's from today. It's 10 hours old. It's called Tim Miller. This is the moment that will end Mike Johnson. And it's just like a 17-minute video. I'm going to fast forward a couple of minutes in. I think I'll go to the 2-minute mark. Just hoping that it'll be in the context. I tried to like cue it up, but let's see how precise I am. Let's see.
When he's in the minority, when he realizes that his speakership is gone for good, and he was trying to jail his colleagues.
And this is a really good point. Maybe I should rewind that a little bit, and then it'll dovetail into the next thing. It's about Mike Johnson.
Hey, everybody, Tim over from the Bulwark here. I just got off with Nicole, and I'm usually on with her focused on the failed effort to indict 6 Democrats at the grand jury there in the DMV. And boy, what just a disastrous failure by this administration to go after those 6 Democrats and like just get resoundingly rejected by a grand jury. Now they're going back for a second bite, I guess. So this is kind of like a thank you, sir, may I have another situation, it seems like. But we'll keep an eye on that. But one of the things I wanted to get into with regards to that is a column by my colleague Joe Pernicone, who writes the Press Pass newsletter. It's our newsletter about what's happening on Capitol Hill. You can get that at thebulwark.com. You should sign up if you haven't. He talks about just how embarrassingly timid it is that none of the Republicans, basically with 2 exceptions, have stood up for their Democratic colleagues who are being targeted by this administration.
This is such a good point. And sorry, I've got something on my lip. I have no idea what it is. It kind of feels like, I don't know, something prickly. It's weird.
I mean, it's really kind of unbelievable cowardice. Can you imagine working with somebody, being a colleague, and having someone try a sham effort to run them out of the company, and then you don't say anything? I think back to like an 80s movie about a prep school, where the dean is targeting a kid.
I don't know what movie he's talking about. An 80s movie with a prep school? I don't know. Any ideas? I'm just curious.
Inappropriately, like, what do you learn? Like, what is the moral of all those stories? Like, you stand up for your classmate and your colleague, even if they're your rival, or even if you don't like them, they're not in your same group. That's not happening with the Republicans. And Mike Johnson, little twerp, said he basically did think they committed a crime, which to me, I just think this is the beginning of the end of Mike Johnson's speakership, and that it's going to be a really dark quote for him to look back on.
Yeah, I have no
when he's in
idea
the minority,
either.
when he realizes that his speakership is gone for good.
I thought Dead Poet Society, but that's like way past the 80s, I think.
And he was trying to jail his colleagues, saying they should be jailed for putting out a video where they simply said that members of the military should not follow unlawful orders. Members of the military should live up to their oath. That's all they said.
And I gotta say right here, it is illegal to follow unlawful orders. It's not that you shouldn't follow illegal orders. It's that you cannot follow illegal orders. You will go to jail. Straight up. You cannot follow illegal orders, period.
Thinks they should be jailed for that. Oh, yeah? Okay. Well, we'll see what goes around comes around on that. But I was intrigued by Tom Tillis, who's retiring, has finally found a spine. And so he, said that political lawfare is wrong no matter either party. It's like, okay, buddy, let's not try to compare Merrick Garland limply going after Donald Trump's myriad real crimes to Donald Trump and Pam Bondi going after Mark Kelly for imaginary crimes. Right? It's not the same thing. But I was interested in Chuck Grassley's point. Here's what he said to Politico. I think our law enforcement people ought to be spending their time on making our...
Okay, this is the part that I'm talking about. So listen very closely, and I'll probably play it twice for you.
...community safe and going after real lawbreakers. That's an important point, Grandpa. That's an important point, Grandpa Chuck. Like, the amount of resources that's being spent on chasing after fake crime by this administration at the expense of efforts to go after real criminals is truly mind-blowing. If they just no longer go after white-collar crime at all, if you're a rich guy, you have impunity in this country right now. You can do whatever you want. If you're a crypto scammer, you can do whatever you want. If you're kidnapping, Nancy Guthrie.
Do I need business insurance? The truth is...
And it's really weird that they insert their commercial there. Like they're trying to distract you from what he just said. But let's skip this stupid commercial. So interesting, huh? The cryptocurrency, I think, is a dead giveaway. But one of the problems, or one of the earmarks of criminality and like mobster type of criminality, is that they have to be blatant about it. It's like this bravado, like posting on social media. But I feel like Bigly Piggly really gave himself away with the Bitcoin. But then again, it's like intentional. The Bitcoin is a huge clue. Like, he's the guy that's obsessed with Bitcoin.
No results on that yet. And yet instead, we have all these law enforcement officers and officials and resources going after nonviolent.
So all he says about Nancy Guthrie, there's like a long pause and silence, which I think speaks volumes. And then he says basically nothing going on with that yet. So I'm going to rewind it a little bit and play that again.
That's an important point, Grandpa Chuck. Like, the amount of resources that's being spent on chasing after fake crime by this administration at the expense of efforts to go after real criminals is truly mind-blowing.
Fake crime.
If they just no longer go after white-collar crime at all, if you're a rich guy, you have impunity in this country right now. You can do whatever you want. If you're a crypto scammer, you can do whatever you want. If you're kidnapping, Nancy Guthrie. No results on that yet. And yeah.
So what do you think, you guys? Replaying it for you right now, it seems even more pointed to me. If you're a kidnapper, Nancy Guthrie. No results on that yet. 2 weeks in. If this was an amateur abductor, they'd be arrested by now. They would have been arrested like a week ago. And if this is a high-level professional, like a government psyop kind of thing, they'll never cop to it. They'll never cop to it. They'll pin it on somebody. Like, what I really think that's what they were trying to do with that guy from Rio Rico, that young Hispanic man. I think that you were right from the very start. Well, Annabise, I'll tell you what the red flag Donnies that I had. First red flag was like 84-year-old woman does not get kidnapped out of her freaking home. Period. It just don't happen. And then with a famous child, very, very, very famous child. I mean, Savannah Guthrie is pretty close to a household name, if not a household name. And I think I told you this. I said it in one of my videos a couple days ago. My first thought that it was some kind of hoax, that maybe Savannah was in on it. I thought maybe she's a Trumper and she's colluding with him to do this weird stunt. And then I Googled Savannah Guthrie Trump, and all that stuff from 2019 came up. And I was like, oh, interesting. It was a few days later that I saw some articles about Don Lemon, that investigative journalist, covering the Emmy that she won back then, 7 years ago. Don Lemon was arrested for his journalistic tactics, doing the thing where he followed the protesters into the church. It is illegal for the protesters to go into the church. However, it's not illegal for an investigative journalist to follow them in to document it. It wasn't just him that got arrested. It was like his whole crew. But they waited until, I don't know, a week or two later than when he was at the Grammys. And I knew that they would arrest him. He knew that they would arrest him. They were trying to get him indicted and they weren't able to, but they just kept trying. They just like kept taking it to a different judge until finally I think they got a judge to indict him, but they, being the government, they could have done it anyway without the indictment. So I knew that they would do it one way or another. I figured that they would get a judge to agree, like going judge shopping. That's what you do. You just go judge shopping. It's sort of like when you ask your mom if you can have ice cream. She says no, so you go ask your dad. He says no, so you go ask your grandma. And grandma's like, sure, right? But then if they find out that you'd asked her, then you get in big trouble. So it doesn't make sense. So then right away, I thought, this is so weird. And then it was like, I think 3 days in, and there was not a peep from the president about this high profile celebrity's mother getting kidnapped. And so that was weird. Silence speaks volumes. And then about 3 days in, I think roughly, was when he finally said, it's horrible. That was the word he used. Horrible. It's horrible. Like he says it like it's H-A-R. Horrible. It's the exact same word that he used when he was asked on the tarmac a year ago what his thoughts were about the news with Virginia Giuffre. And they didn't say what the news was, but he already knew. And he said, it's horrible. Same freaking word. No such thing as coincidence, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. Anyway, I think he was completely behind the Virginia Giuffre thing. I think I've made that abundantly clear for the entire last year, especially after reading her book. Let's see, where do I want to take the conversation from there? I want to say that the next red flag, when he was talking and saying it was so horrible, and then he says, I've always liked Savannah Guthrie. Huge lie. Nope. Wrong. And then he says, we're going to make sure that they have all of the law enforcement and everything at their disposal to help resolve the situation. And it's like, well, duh, of course, like you're going to hold back. That's ridiculous. But it's all about him. So then a couple days later, he was on Air Force One and they were asking him about it. And he was all full of himself with his bravado. And he said, oh, yeah, I think we've got the solution. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. Like there's been a lot that's happened in the last couple of hours. You'll be impressed. But it was all about him. It was all about him. He was just like showing off. And then nothing, not a peep. And then the, let's see, what was the next big thing? Well, so in between those things that I've just said was the sheriff. You know, the sheriff came out publicly right away. And right away, I thought he was acting like a spineless, wet noodle fish flopping around. He just had nothing to say. And people were like, oh, he's probably not used to all this attention. And, you know, he's just like this small town guy. And it's like, it doesn't matter. When you're the sheriff, your job is to be the face up front. I mean, that's your job. You are the PR person. Same thing with police chiefs. You are the PR person. That's your job, unless you're going to delegate it to someone else. And that's completely appropriate too, to delegate it to an actual PR person or to a sergeant or a captain. But a lot of these chiefs and sheriffs, they are just hams and they love getting out there in front of everybody and being the man in control and, you know, saying everything, every word that comes out of their mouth is taken as fact, even when it's complete gobbledygook and makes no sense at all. And they love that and they play on it. And it's, if you have a good professional in that position, then it's great. If you don't, it's awful. So this guy, no, not so sharp. And I thought, he's saying a whole lot of nothing. He's taking up a whole lot of time. All these news crews, his time, all the viewers. He's wasting his own time. He's wasting everybody else's time. He could be, I don't know, working on the case. I mean, again, mostly the figureheads from departments are simply figureheads from departments, but they do plot out the game plan. They do lay the tracks for the course and how things are going to go. And they usually invite larger entities in, like, you know, the state or federal. They usually do. They usually ask for that help. And it's my understanding that the sheriff still hasn't capitulated to the feds, but I don't have any faith in a CASHAPP Patel run FBI anyway. So when he was doing that, I thought there's something wrong with this guy, and he's got to be aware of what's going on and not doing anything about it and pretending like he's out here looking around. Oh, what do we see? What do we see? No, it's just really, really odd. Everything was really odd. And then it was like the same day that Cash Patel showed up. Well, he didn't show up for like 10 days. So he just showed up this past Tuesday, I think, unless he showed up the day after on Wednesday. But Tuesday was when they finally had those images, the still shots and the video from the Ring doorbell. And then there was like stories about a black glove in the house, a black glove a mile away. Now there's like a set of black gloves like a mile and a half away. It's just like, come on. So you find a glove a couple of miles away and you think it's part of the case? That's ridiculous. It's completely insane. Sure, it could be, but chances are it's not. A lot of people lose loves. I mean, a lot of people lose loves. Craziness. And then now with the SWAT team crap going on, just a whole lot of nothing. So, the big trouble that sheriff is in is for how he ran his campaign last year, 2024, when he put his rival, the person running against him for sheriff, that he had authority over her in their positions at the time. I think he was already sheriff, and I'm not sure what her position was. If she was in the department under him, I'm not sure. I'll look into that, because it's always fascinating when you find these things out. It's like usually more there than what you're looking for. So he put her on an administrative leave right before the election, which he also put a gag order on her so she couldn't talk about the administrative leave. And when you are on administrative leave, it means you're under suspicion. It means that they're investigating you. It means that you're being accused of having done something wrong. So for him to have done that is so unethical, if not illegal. I mean, if it was completely made up, which it seems like it was, that guy could get in a lot of trouble. So he might be facing some severe consequences for that and some other things that he's done shady. And if he's in trouble with that, or if he knows that he's going to get in trouble with that, who could help him out of that kind of trouble other than like the president? I don't know. But the guy is a Democrat, the sheriff, Chris Nanos. So I thought that was interesting that he's not a Republican, because, most people in law enforcement are Republicans, especially the leadership. So that's kind of odd. But I said this in my last video, I think, that that the Biggly Piggly would also want to pick someone's brain that rigged an election and won, because that's what he's all about. So it could be like an I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of thing, that they're doing favors for each other. I don't know. That's my suspicion. So many people are so focused on Nancy Guthrie's abduction. I'm one of them. I think it's designed to be a distraction, but it's not distracting me. It's kind of just making the whole Trumpstein files worse. And no signs of life is just so frightening. So I think that Harvey from TMZ said that they got another email today or something. I don't know. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah, Tucson is not a small town. Thank you, Anna Bees. Exactly. Feeling like it's all inside job, especially about that letter that she was reading, and it like coincides with Silence of the Lambs. What letter? What letter? Did I miss something? Tina Jefferson, hello. Nice to meet you. I don't know that we've met before. Welcome in. What's the letter? Silence of the Lambs. Yikes. And yeah, Tucson is not a small town. And, if in the event that you're in a position like that, like a police chief or a sheriff, and you're not good at PR, you shouldn't be in that position. Public speaking is like something that you do every single day in a position like that. But people in Arizona don't wear gloves. I don't know. Doesn't it get cold at night in the desert? I would think. But yeah, medical gloves, especially. It does snow in Tucson, but not very much. Right. You lived there. You grew up there. And not enough to buy gloves. And yes, in Prescott, Payson, Flagstaff, it does snow, and you would probably have gloves. Hello, Tina and Christina Herman. So yeah, I'm so curious, Tina, if you want to elaborate what note, the letter that she was reading, she being Savannah Guthrie or one of the newscasters. So, Katie Couric is who Savannah Guthrie replaced at the Today Show. And I'm just, I'm a huge Katie Couric fan. I'm really curious what she would have to say about the case. So apparently Jiz lied on her U.S. citizenship application. She said she didn't have a criminal record, and she did, allegedly. I need to look more into that. But Michael Cohen has been making a lot of waves. Oh, good. We got another Clementine Justice. Hello, hello. Hey, my friends, it's Liberty. Been watching about Nancy G. This is so sad. Happy to see you all. Miss you. Lovely to see you, Clementine Justice. Liberty been watching. So yeah, the thing with Nancy Guthrie, I think it really pushes all of our buttons and pulls our heartstrings. Everyone's got a mother. Going after your mother is such a mob boss kind of thing. It's just like so blatant. It's so blatant. So I was saying, I think I said it yesterday in my video, that Savannah Guthrie called the state senator, Mark Kelly, when she was first alerted about the situation. Was that like January 30th, Sunday, like around noon? I got a puppy dog trying to get in. Oh no. Should I let her in? She's making noise. So Savannah, instead of calling like 911, she called the state senator, Mark Kelly, which I think could be telling in and of itself. One sec. Come here, silly puppy dog. Come on in, babies. Oh, we got a full house. We got all three. Oh my God, they're gonna just take over. Okay, it's the puppy bowl. Okay, babies, we can all cuddle. Hold on. Can I sit too? Can I sit too? Oh my gosh, you're so cute. Here, let me squeeze in. Try not to knock stuff over. Come here, baby. Come here. So this one is Cheese Ball, the Cocker Spaniel baby. She just turned 1. And then Mookie is behind me trying to get squished. Mookie is about 10. And Cheese Ball, no! I've got a smoothie she's trying to get into. She's a little food. She's a foodie. So Mookie is my little 10-year-old girl. She's about half the size of Cheese Ball. And Mookie's a quarter weenie, but she thinks she's all wiener dog. Look at this girl. And look, I've got this wiener dog that looks just like her. And sometimes she'll steal her and run around with her in her mouth. Okay, back on track. Where were we? It's always good to have some puppy love, huh? She's my girl, my baby. Does anyone know did Savannah do coverage on Epstein in the past? She did a ton of coverage on Epstein, Christine Herman. She is probably the person that interviewed the most victims. So I think it was in my last video, I was reading from AI what AI has to say about it. So I'll do that real quick again for you. Savannah Guthrie Epstein survivor coverage. Epstein survivor coverage. Let's see what it says under AI mode. Also, I wanted to talk about the Olympics. I was watching some figure skating today. Savannah Guthrie's reporting on Jeffrey Epstein's victims has resurfaced in February 2026 due to the high-profile disappearance and alleged kidnapping of her 84-year-old mother, Nancy Guthrie. Notable Epstein coverage. And that was the year before she got in hot water with Trump. The hot water with the president was 2020. I mistakenly said 7 years, 6 years. I was confused because 2019 is when. So in September 2019, Guthrie led a major NBC News investigation and Dateline special titled Reckoning, which featured exclusive interviews with several of Epstein's accusers shortly after his death in federal custody. Virginia Giuffre conducted the first extensive televised interview. Guthrie conducted the first televised extensive interview with Giuffre, who detailed allegations of being trafficked to powerful figures, including Prince Andrew. Survivor group. The special featured a group of survivors speaking together, including Anuska DeGiorgio, Rachel Benavides, sorry if I'm hacking their names, Jennifer Arazos, Marjik Chartouni, and Shantae Davies. And Guthrie interviewed Michael Ritter, the former Palm Beach chief of police, who described the early handling of the Epstein case as a massive failure in the justice system. And Jeffrey Epstein donated 6 figures to the Palm Beach Police Department every year. 2026 developments in Epstein files. Again, this is AI just from Googling Savannah Guthrie Epstein files. Guthrie's past reporting has re-entered the national conversation following 2 major events in early 2026. Mother's disappearance. Nancy Guthrie was reported missing from her Tucson, Arizona home on January 31st. Sorry, I said January 30th earlier a minute ago. Authorities are treating the case as a kidnapping and have mentioned potential ransom demands. And the DOJ document release on January 30th, 2026, the day before Nancy Guthrie disappeared, the Department of Justice released the final tranche of documents related to the Epstein case the day before. Not a coincidence, in my opinion. These files explicitly mention Guthrie's 2019 interviews, including internal communications about her reporting for Dateline. While social media has fueled speculation connecting her mother's abduction to her previous investigative work on the Epstein network, law enforcement has not confirmed any link between the 2 events as of February 13th, 2026. Guthrie has taken a leave of absence from her role at the Today Show and the 2026 Winter Olympics coverage to focus on the search for her mother. So nobody's talking about her being hospitalized December 19th until January 25th. She was on a medical leave from work because she had a bleeding nodule on a vocal cord that she had to get surgery for. She lost her voice. She was literally silenced. And that diagnosis that was resolved with the surgery can be created by poisoning. It can be. I'm not saying that it was. I'm saying that it can be. So I don't know how she got her condition. But it's interesting that it can be from poisoning. So no one's talking about the interview that she did, not the interview, but the conversation that she facilitated, the discussion that she facilitated on December 9th in Washington, D.C. at the National Cathedral with Governors Shapiro and Cox. Is it Joseph Shapiro? I think that's his name. Anyway, Governor Shapiro from Pennsylvania, and then Cox, I forget his first name, but he's from Utah, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. The conversation on December 9th was about political violence, which is also the same topic that pissed the president off when Savannah Guthrie was persistent in her questioning him about fanning the flames that were leading people to political violence. And she was trying to ask him point blank, like, you're the president. Do you really think that that's appropriate to fan the flames where people are going to take action with political violence? And he just kept doing his Pam Bondi kind of thing, like she did in her performance a couple days ago. And Savannah did a really good job of just maintaining the course and trying to get serious questions asked and answered. And he wasn't having it. You know how he is. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Pin message. Where are we? Cheese ball. Yeah, pretty dogs. Hey, cheese ball, come here, baby. I call her Cheeto. And then Mookie is growling. Silly heads. They're just a riot. They are such a riot. They keep me very busy. Come on, baby. Chill out. Okay, go. Go and be all growly then. Sorry, I'm falling behind. They are cute, aren't they? And they're hilarious. Cheese ball is getting big. She's about 20 pounds and Mookie is about 10. And then Coco's over here. She's about 40 pounds. And she's doing great with her cancer recovery. She's been free of cancer for over a year now. Yay. She's out of the woods. Mookie is so cute. And Cheese ball, amen. Related in Guthrie fam, found deceased off cliff, went with Ghislaine's sister. Wait, what? A man related in Guthrie family found deceased, went off cliff, went with Ghislaine's sister. Holy crap, Christine. I haven't not heard a darn thing about this. This sounds completely insane. Are you for sure? Let's see. A man in the Guthrie family found deceased off of a cliff with Ghislaine's sister. Let's see what it says. It doesn't sound like it has any idea what I'm talking about. Yeah. So Ghislaine's sister or Savannah Guthrie's sister? Anyway, if you could elaborate, Christine, and I'll get caught up. Wait, what, Christine? They said he jumped off cliff. Not sure when this happened. I'm wondering if you're thinking about Ghislaine's father who fell off of his yacht or out of his yacht. That was back in like 1992. That's when she became dependent on Jeffrey Epstein because she was very dependent on her father. The yacht was named after her, and she was like the youngest of 9. Is that possibly what? Maybe there's some confusion there. So they said jumped off cliff. Not sure when this happened. So I haven't heard anything about anybody jumping off of a cliff. There's been a lot of Russians that have fallen out of their apartment buildings and such. People falling down flights of stairs. Biggly Piggly's brother died from a fall a few years ago in his first presidency. I think like 2019 or 2020. Have you seen pictures of man they say is alive, J.E.? I have, Clementine, Justice. The photos that are coming, they say that they're from Israel, and he's walking down the street and he's got a beard. And it looks like it could definitely be him. And he's surrounded by bodyguards, allegedly. I don't know that that's not AI. And I don't know that that's not just a lookalike. I just don't know. It could be that it's real, but I haven't heard it being. I would think if it was real, there'd be a huge uproar right now. So I tend to believe that it's malarkey, but I don't know. I mean, I used to think that they just snuck him out of the jail. I thought that for the first few years. And then I got convinced by a family member that he was indeed red-rummed because he knew too much and people wanted him silenced. And so I was convinced by this family member, and I've pretty much been of that school ever since. But I don't know. I mean, I know for sure he didn't do it to himself, because narcissists don't. And there's just no signs that he was self-injurious. I mean, he would have thought that he would have gotten a slap on the wrist like he did before, right? So, and he wanted to live forever. That was his whole thing. Ghislaine's sister. So yeah, she has a lot of sisters. Let's see. Liberty, I saw a pic. I guess it could have been him. I don't think it really looks like him, but I could be wrong. Well, he could have had surgery to change his facial features so that he could not be detected. Because then he's got the beard and I think long hair. But I mean, the nose is similar. The ears are really similar. And the cheekbones seem different, like he might have had cheek implants. I think that our president has had cheek implants. Have you guys noticed how his cheeks are so prominent? I think those are fake. Let's see. Picture of big bearded Jay Epstein. Yes, looks like him to me in Israel. Or it could be Jesus, right? So, sorry. But I'm not doubting that he could still be alive. He could absolutely. I mean, he had all the connections to do that. I mean, the whole thing with that memo that's dated a day before he passed away, it's dated Friday, August 9th, when he passed away, Saturday, August 10th. It's almost like they were planning it. They wrote the memo and then they got delayed and then they didn't fix it. Or maybe it was supposed to happen earlier that day and it didn't happen until night. And then they thought, well, it was still the 9th. So they thought it was okay, but it wouldn't make sense. Like, how could you have the memo written already if it happened like at 11:59 at night, which apparently it did? then how would you have the memo typed up at 11:59, right? Let's see. He obviously has the connections to make it happen. Exactly. Christine, yes, to me too. Still lots of chaos going on in this world. Rich and famous can do anything. It's really, the world is designed for the rich and famous to get away with red rum. Yay for Coco. I know. I couldn't be happier. I saw it too. They dated. Who dated? Now I'm confused. Who dated? Ghislaine and Jeffrey? Yeah, I mean, they molested children together, if you call that dating. Sorry. It's not funny at all. But she was his employee. I mean, he revised his will 2 days before he was Epstein. And I just like to say he was Epstein because that covers all the bases, whether he was shooed out of there alive or red rummed or did it to himself. He was Epstein. 2 days before he was Epstein, he rewrote his will and he left Jiz $10 million. He left as much as he could to his most recent girlfriend. And then he left a lot to a lawyer and a lot to an accountant. Yeah. So Ghislaine Maxwell's sister. Someone knew I was watching. Don't remember the site. I know that's the problem. Do you know how to go into your history, Christine Herman? When you're on your YouTube, if you go into your history, it's really helpful to find something that you were just watching, or to find what the name of a channel is if you can't remember. So like when I'm on my YouTube on my phone, that's my YouTube channel with my own thumbnail right there. Down in the lower right hand corner where it says you touch that and then it pulls up your history right there. And then if you hit view all, it goes all the way back for all of eternity, all of your freaking history. And I find that very helpful. So hopefully that helps somebody that didn't know how to do it. That's funny though. I know how to do it on my laptop too. I was going to say I didn't know how to do it on my laptop, but that's not true. It's just over on the left on the laptop rather than the lower right-hand corner. No, not father. Okay, no, not the father that fell off the yacht, was related to Savannah Guthrie. Let's see. Let me try another AI search. Did Savannah Guthrie have a family member that fell off of a cliff? No information indicating that a family member of Savannah Guthrie fell off a cliff. However, her 84-year-old mother is missing. So, he was creepy. Yes, I can't trust anyone anymore because of the Kylie case. Yeah, the Kylie case was an absolute pile of crap from top to bottom. The whole thing was a lie. And I sometimes wonder about that with Idaho 4 as well. I'm certainly wondering that with Nancy Guthrie right now. I agree, Liberty and Idaho 4. Anna B says, right, Jazz. Yes, it sure is. The guy who jumped and Ghislaine's sister. Okay, now I'm really confused. The guy who jumped, Ghislaine's sister. Did Ghislaine Maxwell's sister fall off a cliff? What's this? Oh, this is interesting that this is completely different, but this is a really good thing. It's Threads. It says Al Seckel was seeing Ghislaine Maxwell's sister Isabel at the time. That he ended up dead at the bottom of a cliff in France. There we go. On 12/16/2010, he was emailing Epstein about his operation to sanitize Epstein's Wikipedia page and bury journalists who tried to expose him. And so this is a post from, interesting, it's dated December 9th of 2025. So the same day that Savannah was coordinating that debate or conversation with those two governors. There certainly are a lot of dead people in this story. There really is. I'm eventually write all about them in one piece. Yeah, it's really sad. The deceased, the Kate Justice, Kait Justice. Does that ring a bell for you? That's who posted it on Threads. The Kate Justice. Yeah, there's a lot of people like Virginia Giuffre. There's a lot of people that were Epsteined, like Jean-Luc Brunel. And Ron Eppinger is deceased, of course. There's a lot of deceased people in these stories. And it's really sad. The boyfriend of the victim that I was talking about in my live yesterday, I think it was. I've got my 2 notebooks. I need to get them both. But where's my other notebook? I think I've got a puppy dog on my lap and it's over there. So I'll get that in a minute. That's the one that has it written down, the name of the Epstein survivor that did the long 58-minute interview with Midas Touch yesterday. Here, I can look at it on my phone so I don't have to worry about that, forgetting to do it later. Let's see. Midas Touch interview Epstein survivor. Yeah. It's gotten 500,000 views, 53-minute interview. But I just want to catch her.
Did you start using Instagram, TikTok, Facebook?
Catch her name again for you. Let's see. She did a great interview. Haley Robeson. So she was the one whose boyfriend died in 2006. Didn't die, was red-rummed, and it's still unsolved. It was in Orlando 20 years ago. And it wasn't until this most recent batch that was just dropped on January 30th there's so many homicides in that batch. She never thought of Jeffrey as somebody that would do something like that, even though she knew what a scumbag he was. I think that grape is in some ways worse than red rum. So to me, anybody who's going to grape is going to red rum, basically, because it's like a red rum of a person's soul, in a sense. I mean, it's just really, really harsh. Who said this? I had to write this down today. A fairy tale goblin guarding a riddle. Who was a fairy tale goblin guarding a riddle? I want to say that was probably in the Have I Got News for You that I was watching. Fairy tale goblin guarding a riddle. I meant to write down where I got it from. So let's see. Michael Cohen is a big fat liar. We know that. And Lev remembers, keeps making really good videos about him. I wanted to point out, because I don't think a lot of people have pointed this out, in the interview, the big interview that Michael Cohen did with Tara Palmieri about 6 months ago, where this thing that's a current fight with Michael Cohen and the rest of the world, the whole thing about Katie Johnson, the woman who says that Trump raped her when she was 13. Trump and Epstein together when she was 13 twice. And she's the one who filed the lawsuit 3 times in 2016. So Michael Cohen jumped all over Tara Palmieri about that. He completely freaked out and lost his crap. But prior to that part of the interview, that there's just been so much fallout ever since. And he's gotten fired from Midas Touch, and he lost like 35,000 subs a couple of days ago. He should lose all of his subs, in my opinion. But probably they're all Russian bots, the ones that he still has. Duh, I hadn't even thought about that. But what he had said that was so sus before he got into that fight with Tara, in that same interview, Tara brought up the thing about how Bigley Pigley himself said in a Howard Stern interview that he would walk in on the teenagers when they were half naked or half dressed or whatever. He would barge into the dressing rooms and he'd be like, oh, well, I'm the owner. I'm just inspecting. Is everybody okay? Does anybody need anything? And, you know, the girls were really creeped out by it, but he was the one who told on himself. Michael Cohen, in that interview with Tara Palmieri, said, he never did that. I was with him all the time. He never did anything like that. And you know what? He was lying. He was just like trying to be funny, and he likes to tell stories. So Michael Cohen, when he said that crazy crap in the Tara Palmieri interview, I thought, oh, Michael Cohen is covering for himself because he was there when Bigley Pigley was walking in on half-dressed teenagers. If Michael Cohen then was probably walking in on, he was like probably with Trump when Trump was doing that. So to cover for himself, because he's married and has a daughter, at least one, I know he has kids and at least one of them is a girl. He's trying to clean it up for himself and say, oh no, that never happened, because he was always there with Trump. So that's his way of trying to cover. It's my guess that he got involved in the hanky panky too. I mean, all of these jerks did. I can't imagine that any of them with the opportunity would pass it up, right? Let's see. The guy who jumped and Jiz's sister, yes, I will do. Well, I'm glad we cleared that up, huh? I watch YouTube all the time when I'm awake and fall asleep listening to it. So sometimes videos keep playing. So searching my history doesn't help me. And the other thing is that I find videos in my history that I didn't watch and I wasn't asleep either. It's like, I don't know why it does that, but it does that. Anna, me too. Watch it all the time when I'm off and listen at bedtime. So I rewatched the documentary about those 2 little girls that were kidnapped in 1975. And I wanted to talk about that case because it, you know, I told you guys yesterday I was watching it while I was doing other stuff, so I wasn't paying that close of attention. I was trying to see if it was something that would interest me, and it did. So I watched it today, gave it my undivided attention. And I still can't remember their names. One of the little girls, her name was Catherine, but they called her Kate. Welsh was the last name. Welsh. I'll have to get my notes over here. Watch out, Mookie. I'm gonna get up, baby. Mwah. Sometimes when she's all comfortable and you make her move, she'll totally growl at you and even snap at you. Let's see. Is it in here? It better be. Yeah, it is. My notebook, the one that fits in my purse. Okay. So what are those girls' names? It's the sickest case in the world, but it is very, very educational. And It's a docu-series. Sheila and Catherine Lyon, Lyon. And then Lloyd Lee Walsh confessed to doing it in 2017, but it happened in 1975. And an author, Mark Bowden, wrote a book about it called No Stone Unturned. I think I'm going to read that book. He also wrote Black Hawk Down, and he's a very successful true crime author. All he does is write true crime. And so the docu-series on television, did I write the name down of it? Let's see. Caitlin and Sheila Lyon docu-series. Lyon, Lyon. Docu-series, Kidnapped, 1975. So it was from a mall near Washington, D.C. And it is a horrific story, but there's a dedicated episode. Oh, there's a Dateline or 2020. No, I want to know what the docuseries is called. Oh, okay. I think it's called Who Killed the Lyon Sisters, and it's from 2020. And it's a 2-hour documentary special that aired on Investigation Discovery. It details the 40-year search for the sisters after they vanished from a Maryland shopping mall, and features the persistent work of cold case detectives who finally ID'd their unaliver. It's available for streaming on platforms like Prime Video and Discovery. So yeah, I was able to watch it for free on Roku. One of the reasons why I watched it with my undivided attention today, and why I'm recommending it to anybody who is really into true crime, is the detectives kicked butt on this case. I highly recommend watching it simply to observe the detectives kicking butt. Like, these are real detectives, and this is how you do it, MFs. These guys, and there was a woman too, they killed it, no pun intended. They worked so hard for so long. And then there's also like a touch of magic. Like, the guy who'd been working on it for 40 years literally was like ready. I think he already called the parents and said, you know what, I've done all I can do. We're going to just have to wrap this up. And that very day, when he was like putting away the 20 boxes of papers, and he said he knew every single paper in those 20 boxes. He'd been trying to solve this case for 40 years, I think, for many years. He said he knew every page in the 20 boxes. He worked on it for a very, very long time. And that all of a sudden there was one piece of paper on his desk that he'd never seen before, that was the documentation of an interview with the particular individual. And so he read it and was like, how come I've never seen this piece of paper before? Like, the only document that I don't know out of the 20 boxes. And so he contacted the person and he interviewed him, and one thing led to another, and persistence. And that was the stroke of luck, though. In some ways, it sounds like he thinks that God fabricated it and put it there. And I believe in that kind of stuff. I do. I mean, some things are just inexplicable, and it seems like that's one of them. Let's see. Yeah, and they did pass away. You're right here. Oh, Christine, good night. Good night. Oh, okay. I thought you said you were going to go to bed. Sorry. Where I live, 39-year-old cold case is solved through DNA of a man who died in 2017. He is not in CODIS. Liberty, that sucks that they didn't find out before 2017. Anna, the serial killer, passed in 2017. They had to take his DNA to verify it was him because he too composed when they found him, too decomposed. Law enforcement thought he was the killer, and I guess checked his DNA and it matched. In January 2026, DNA matched. I'm afraid that they're going to pretend to find Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, and then they're going to pretend to find the unaliver who's going to have unalived himself, but he's going to have a note in his pocket that said, I did it, right? I mean, it's like the Adam Pazinski with Crystal Turner and Kylan Schulte. It's always so convenient when they're passed away, and especially when they write notes to themselves to explain, like Brian Laundrie. Let's see, 2026 DNA matched. Oh, I see. Do you remember his name? Alan Wayne Wilmer, the Colonial Parkway Red Rooms.